Good afternoon, Cougs. This is Mrs. Waverly, one of the counselors at Curtis Junior High, alongside with Mrs. Artiaga. And the reason why you received this email along with this link is because you qualify to apply for the Elizabeth Wesley Youth Merit Incentive Award program. And I wanted to give you some information and walk you through the application process in hopes that you choose to apply for this award program. So this award program was established in 1995-96 school year, and it was really to honor Mrs. Wesley, who was a strong supporter of African American youth education and achievement. The award really wants to recognize, they celebrate academic performance, community involvement, good citizenship at home, in your community, and in your school. And then since it started, they've successfully provided over 3,300 incentive awards of $350 each to ninth graders in the kind of the local 7 school districts around us. So that includes Bethel, Clover Park, Franklin Pierce, Puyallup, Steilacoom, Tacoma, and UP. They partner with other local agents, and what they do is they spend all year raising money, and the amount of money that they raise, they break up into $350 increments, and then they're able to give out that many awards. So since its inception, the program has invested over $1.3 million in incentive awards and scholarships in support of college and career goals and tomorrow's African American leaders. So they really encourage you to apply, and Mrs. Artiaga and I also encourage you to apply. It's a really good opportunity. And if you are chosen for this award, they'll invite you to a ceremony. Usually they'll notify you in August, and then you'll go to a practice ceremony. And then the third Saturday in September, they always hold their ceremony. And so you'd be invited on stage. They read your name, and then they present you with your $350 check that you can, put in the bank and use for kind of whatever you want. So some students choose to, if they might need school supplies or materials, and some will put it in the bank, and then they use that money to apply for like SAT, college applications, things like that. So I'm going to take a moment just to walk you through the application process. So let me switch screens here. So this year, you can actually apply online, or let me go back here. So you can actually apply online, or there's a paper copy. So when you log into the Elizabeth Wesley Youth Merit Incentive Award, you're going to register as a user. And so this year you can actually, if you don't have to fill out the application all at once if you don't have all of your documents kind of ready. So you can go in there. Last year you had to sit down and fill it all out at the same time. But this year you can go in there and register and look at the application, and then get all of your documents ready to go. And then if you want to apply, you can do it that way. Or I'm going to walk you through the paper application and what you need to do to apply. So 1, you must be an African American male or female who is a U.S. citizen and currently enrolled in 9th, 10th, or 11th grade in one of the 7 local school districts. And you must have earned a cumulative grade point average of 2.5 or better at the end of this school year. So if you received the email saying that you qualify, that's because at the end of first semester you had a 2.5 or above. And so as long as you maintain that and have a 2.5 at the end of the year, you can apply for this award. So let's kind of go through what you'll need to do to apply. So the first thing is you're going to need a copy of your certified transcript. So at the end of the school year, when your grades are posted, there's an official transcript that you'll receive. You can ask for that, and the deadline for that is July 16th. So you can either call the school and ask to pick that up, or if you let us know, by the end of the school year that you're going to apply for this incentive award, we can have that ready for you, and we can leave it in the main office, or we can mail it off for you. So you just need to let us know what you would like for us to do. Then there's a personal and school information that's on the second page of this that we're going to go over. You will need to ask 3 people to write you a letter of recommendation. So 1 letter of recommendation must be from a parent or guardian. So hopefully they know you well enough that they can write you a stellar letter. One letter of recommendation must be from someone at the school that knows you really well. So a teacher, a coach. And I encourage you, this is the first thing that I would start. You want to give the person that's writing you a letter time to write it. And so I always tell students, this isn't the number one thing that you should start doing. So, and because your school person and your community person may not know everything that you're involved in or everything about you, it might be nice just to give them a little bit of information. So, like if you're in sports or if you're doing a club this year or if you've done some community service, it might be nice to share that information. You might share a little bit about like what you want to do after high school and beyond, just so that they can write you a really good letter. And then the third letter is one from a community representative. So maybe someone from your church, somebody that you volunteer with, youth group, just somebody from the community that's not your relative that you can ask to write you a letter of recommendation. So again, you're going to fill out your personal school information. You're going to ask the 3 people to write you a letter. And then number D is you're going to write a well-structured, well-researched essay of at least 250 words on this subject. And 250 words is about a page and a half typed. So it's not too much, but well-researched, typically they're looking for you to have some quotes or some statistics, just bringing in any of that information that shows that you've kind of researched what you're talking about. So the question this year is, the COVID-19 pandemic forced the need for extended remote learning. What was your experience with remote learning? How do you feel it will impact your future? So really you get to, this is kind of your platform just to talk about how this last year and semester went for you. Kind of, was there anything that was challenging, anything that you gained from it? There might be some benefits. And just kind of how you feel like it might impact your future down the road, both positive and negative. This is kind of your platform to share all of your thoughts about that. And then there is a new question this year. So letter E, on a separate piece of paper, you're going to write a response to this question. So what post-secondary education and or training will you need to meet your career interests? And how do you plan to acquire the education, training, and experience needed to obtain your career goal? So basically, what do you plan to do after high school, and what is the path? What's the education or the skills or the training that you're going to need to get there? Okay. So again, just to recap, at the end of the school year, we're going to get your final transcript. On this next page, you're going to fill in your personal and school information. You're going to ask 3 people to write you a letter of recommendation. You are going to write a essay on the COVID pandemic question. And then you're going to write, this is letter E. This is kind of just however long you need to take to answer this question. It's about a paragraph or a long paragraph. This is just kind of what your application will be evaluated on. So they look at your transcripts, they look at how involved you're in school activities, they'll look at your community involvement, so volunteer service, they'll look at your letters of recommendation, and they'll look at the content of your essay. So again, I talked about if you're chosen, you'll get invited to a practice in August, and then the ceremony is September 18th. Right here, what this signature line is this, if you sign this, this is just giving them permission to maybe forward your information to these other local organizations that could send you further information about other scholarships that you may want to apply. So you can choose to sign that or not. So here's your personal and school information that I was talking about on the first page. So you're just going to neatly print, or if you're doing this online, you'll type in just your personal information, and then you'll print or type your school information, the name of your counselor. So for students with the last names A through K, your counselor is Mrs. Arteaga. For students with the last names L through Z, your counselor is me, Mrs. Waverly. And then on a separate sheet of paper or online, you're going to have short answers to these questions. And these ones might be maybe a little tricky this year, since we were not in school and didn't have as many opportunities as maybe others have in the past. So I wanted just to take a moment and walk you through these questions. So the first question, and again, these are about a paragraph to answer. So number one, list two of your favorite school activities in which you participated during the 2020-2021 academic year and tell how they helped you become a better student. So this could be a class, it could be a club, it could be leadership, it could be a sport, anything that you might, it could be journalism. So anything school activity wise that you may have participated in this year. Go ahead and list that, and then just tell how it helped you become a better student. Number two, describe two volunteer services you performed during this past school year, church or community based, and tell who benefited from your services. So some of you may or may not have had the opportunity because of COVID to volunteer. So if you haven't done two, something that you might put in this question is maybe you didn't have the opportunity, but next year or this summer when you do have the opportunity, these are a couple of the places that you plan to volunteer and how the people would benefit from the services at the places that you do want to volunteer at. So that might be a way that you can answer the question, even if you didn't have the opportunity to volunteer this year. The same with number three. There is some recognition coming up. So there were some small recognitions throughout the year, like Student of the Month, or if you were a part of leadership, or many clubs had officers this year. So number three is list any awards, certificates, or special recognition during this past year. Tell what they were and why you received them. And then that will include, we're getting ready at the end of the year to give some academic and some special awards. And so if you receive one of those towards the end of the school year, you can include those as well. So make sure you saved this document because you might want to add to number three. Okay. So just to recap, so this is just a quick check sheet to make sure that you've done all of the things that you need to do for the application. So the first thing is the application, which is this. And if you're online, it would be this would be online, and they'll ask you all the same questions. You also need to do the essay, which is the COVID pandemic question. The transcript. So at the end of the year, a couple days after school's out, you can request your transcript be sent to Wesley, or you can ask to come pick it up and we'll print it out for you and sign it. The post-high school career statement, which is what do you plan to do after high school and how do you plan to achieve that? And then your three letters. So again, you need to ask a parent or a guardian to write you a letter of recommendation, someone here from the school to write you a letter of recommendation, and someone from the community. So somebody that, from your church, from volunteer service, from a youth group, just somebody that knows you really well that is not related to you. And if for some reason you don't have any of these, you might just kind of last resort would be maybe if you guys have a family friend that's not a relative that can just really speak to your character. Okay. So these are the things that you need to do to complete the application. And then if you're applying online, you will just go online and fill out and then submit these documents. If you are applying with a paper copy, you're going to put all of that together and then you're going to stick that in the mail. And then the deadline is right here. The application deadline is June 30th. So all of your documents need to be put together in a packet or submitted online, postmarked by June 30th in order to be eligible for this, to be eligible to apply for this award. So anyways, that is it. Every year we have several students that apply and are chosen. And so again, Mrs. Artiaga and I just encourage you to apply. This is a great opportunity. And this also is something that you can apply for again your 10th and your 11th grade year. And then there are a few bigger scholarship awards for 11th graders going into their senior year. So there's potential for more scholarship or incentive award money down the road. Um, if you have any questions, feel free. My email is going to be on the email that you get. So is Mrs. Artiaga's. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us via email or by phone. We're happy to help in any way. And again, the first thing that I would say to you is to find that teacher that might know you really well from this year or last year and ask them to if they would be willing to write a letter of recommendation for you. And if they say yes, give them a little information about you, and then just ask to check back with them in the next week or so. They just give them a little time to sit down and write your letter. If you, like you said, good luck. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Mrs. Artiaga or myself. And hope you have a great day, Cougs.